In the countryside, there's a highly successful farmer. His focus on preparation and a deep understanding of agriculture has allowed for him to enjoy a long history of plentiful harvests. At the heart of his success are the fencing he installed and the fertilization tactics he employs. But before he arrived at the optimal approach for each, he had alternatives to consider. For example, there was no question in his mind that he needed to protect his crops from the local wildlife population. But what method would he use? He gave it great thought and first came up with the idea of placing a miniature fence around each of the individual plants on the farm. That would certainly protect the crops. But upon further reflection, he recognized it just wasn't feasible. He would need so much mini fencing, and it would be exceedingly difficult to work around during the growing and harvesting seasons. So he went back to the drawing board. His farm sat on a vast homestead, and one of the alternatives he studied was going beyond the planting fields. How about placing a secure perimeter fence around the entire homestead, he thought. While that would certainly protect his crops, he soon realized that he would be fencing in more area than necessary, resulting in greater expense. So he struck a balance and went with the ideal solution. He fenced in just the planting fields on his farm, setting his boundary. Once his boundary was determined, the farmer had some soil amendment decisions to make. Just like his father did, he planted tomatoes and squash exclusively, two crops that thrive in similar soil. He was able to apply an all-purpose fertilizer to every square inch of his land and had great success. But last year, the farmer wanted to expand and add blueberries. But as far as soil composition is concerned, blueberries are nothing like tomatoes and squash. They need more acidic soil than what he has. The farmer first thought about how he could create a custom mix based on a chemistry analysis of his soil. But he soon realized that this would be too costly and burdensome. So instead, the farmer purchased a soil amendment that would reduce the soil's pH level. He applied it specifically to the blueberry fields because he knew that it would harm his other plants. The farmer once again added the all-purpose fertilizer mix to all of his field. And as it turned out, each crop's bounty was beyond measure. The moral of the story is, just as with the fencing and fertilization down on the farm, cybersecurity engineering and design are driven by composition, like determining the location of fence, and decomposition optimization, like how much detail is needed in analyzing the soil, with as few layers as possible while establishing boundaries between functional elements.